Welcome all. It's a brand new morning. It is June 9th, 2013. This is the NFC North phone sessions right here. I am your host, Russell Wayne. I want to put a shout out brand new to the show, Detroit Lions News. I want to thank Joe Chat for letting me broadcast into the Detroit Lions News, the real Detroit Lions News. Bill, the Packer fan. We got Robert. Robert is in the house from the Packers. Follow Bill, the Packer fan. We got Mike, the Bear fan. Yeah, we are broadcasting into that page. We are broadcasting into the Detroit Lions Villain Squad. We are broadcasting live into the NFC North main event, NFC North, the Huddle, and a couple of YouTube pages as well. Good morning. Welcome one, welcome all. Thank you for listening and wanting to talk some football. You guys are the real football fans. Casual football fan has checked out for the season. They get done with the draft, I like my guys, and then they're done, right? Avid football fans are the only ones that are listening to podcasts in June. So I appreciate you for that. My guy, Russell Wayne, it just says Facebook user, so I'm not sure who that is right there. But topics I want to get to. I want to get to some Lions topics right here. DeAndre Hopkins, not just a Lions topic, because I think there's some Bear fan that is out there that want DeAndre Hopkins too. If you're a Lions fan, do you want the Lions to go out and spend some big money on DeAndre Hopkins? Because Jared Goff, he seemed to clap back at that. He seems to think that the Lions wide receiver room is just fine the way that it is. So, yeah, you don't want him. Chris doesn't want him. Chris says he does not want. I'm assuming you're a Lions fan because you got Tigers in there. How about you, Bear fan? You guys got plenty of cap room. You got DJ Moore. You got plenty of money. So if you're a Bear fan, do you go out? Do you go out and try to sign DeAndre Hopkins? Man. Oh, it's Greg Rice, by the way. Greg, you should pop in. Actually, I haven't thrown that in there, so I'm going to throw a link into all of these pages right here. Everybody will get one. Feel free to jump on if you want to have a conversation with me, or else I don't mind talking to myself. And I want to know about DeAndre Hopkins. Is that the guy that you want in Detroit? How about Green Bay Packers? I mean, you guys have no proven wide receivers over there. So, you have a lot of hopium for, Christian Watson and Dobbs, but you really got nothing proven. Wouldn't that be a good thing to have DeAndre Hopkins on your team as a number one, mentoring, maybe showing Christian Watson the ropes? What's up, brother? Sounds good. Come on in. I got the link in there if you want to talk about DeAndre Hopkins. Mike Florio thinks that the Lions are just spouting off at the mouth right here. Way too high expectations for a team that went 9-8 amidst the playoffs. That's what Mike Florio says. I know most people think that Mike Florio is full of crap, and that's all good. It's all good, but the Lions haven't done anything in a long time. And would DeAndre Hopkins help that? If you get DeAndre Hopkins in here, you got, at least for the first 6 weeks, you don't have Jameson Williams. We like our wide receivers in Detroit. I love Amon-Ra St. Brown. Josh Reynolds, he's a good go up and get it kind of guy. Marvin Jones, Khalif Raymond, Mr. Clutch. Yeah. Robert says about the Green Bay Packers. He says, we have young guys. Why is D-Hop available is my question. Has he lost his step? I would think it's fair to say that he's lost his step. But I also think it would be fair to say that 90% of DeAndre Hopkins is 100% better than anything that's on the Packers right now. Christian Watson is not a better wide receiver than DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, Hopkins upgrades any receiver room. Let's get that straight. He's a top 10 talent, even if he's lost a step. I mean, this guy is the best contested ball catcher in the NFL. I mean, you could debate that, but this guy's got some sure hands. Now, I think one of the reasons why he is available is because the practice. You know, you want to talk about practice? You want to talk about practice? So I want to talk about practice. You know, that's what Dan Campbell's looking for. He's looking for grinders. He wants a guy that's going to show up earlier than Amon-Ra St. Brown. And I don't think DeAndre Hopkins is that guy. He's a pure talent, though. I'm a Lions fan, so I'm not going to tell you that I would want DeAndre Hopkins at $17 million. You want $17 million? You can go play for the Bears. But if you're willing to come here for 10, 12 million with some incentives, sure. I'll take DeAndre Hopkins on the Detroit Lions. Jake the Take. Wow, I haven't heard from Jake the Take in a long time. Jake the Take says Hopkins belongs in Detroit. I mean, I think that definitely that helps curve the first 6 weeks without Jameson Williams. That way you got a bona fide 1-2, DeAndre Hopkins and Amon-Ra St. Brown, and you got excellent depth after that. I like that take, Jake the Take. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that talent. And Hopkins would love them help the young guys out. He said guts, but I think he said guys. He wanted to help out them young guys for sure. Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know if he's going to help out the young guys because of his work ethic. I mean, Hopkins doesn't resonate as the guy that's going to show up there and outwork the guys that are on the team. You think we need another defensive tackle? Jason, if you're a Lions fan, I would say you don't have to have another defensive tackle. I think there's a reason that they didn't draft a defensive tackle high. And I think one of the main reasons is Aleem McNeil. And Aleem McNeil, I think they knew they sent him on a mission. So last year, when he was playing the nose, straight up nose, even though he's built like a nose, he doesn't play like a nose. So when they switched him after Brockers was pretty much a healthy scratch for the rest of the year, Aleem McNeil moved over to the pass rushing defensive tackle spot and did very, very well at the end of the year. And then during this offseason, Aleem McNeil cut 13% of his body fat without losing any of the weight. So he's still 325 pounds and 13% body fat less and replaced it all with muscle. So I expect Aleem McNeil to be a force in the middle of the Lions defense. And I think that he will. I think he's worked his butt off for it. And that's where it's at. So I don't think that we need another defensive tackle, but if Frank Clark, wants to come in and do a 1-year deal and beef it up, I'm not going to say no to high-end talent coming to Detroit. That opens up the deep ball for sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. When you have to, commit to a balanced team and then you get one-on-ones, definitely. We don't need him in Green Bay. We need the right veteran. D-Hop is not it. I agree with that. I agree with that for you in Green Bay, even though I'm not a Green Bay fan. I don't think D-Hop's the kind of guy that's going to come in and start mentoring wide receivers. I think he's coming in to be the man. I want to be the man. I mean, as proof that he doesn't want to go to Buffalo Bills when they offer him, a contract to play with a contending team. And you get a chance to be there with Stephon Diggs and one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and you don't leave with a contract. I mean, come on, guys. He's after the money. If you want to pay him, go ahead. I mean, and there's only a couple teams that can really do it. And Chicago is one of them. I mean, and I actually think that might be a nice play in Chicago to get D-Hop. But at the end of the day, let's be real. It's probably going to be Cleveland because he played with Deshaun Watson, Two guys trying to move on with their lives, man. They can make the connection. Facebook user says Detroit's D-line got healthy this season. Martin's going to be the nose tackle. McNeil's going to have a breakout season. Clark just signed somewhere, and I can't remember where. Healthy Pascal and Kaminsky. That Detroit line is loaded. Yeah, I didn't know about that. I'm not one of the, here at the main event, we ain't breaking news in real time or stuff. I really just kind of react to the things that I read yesterday. And Frank Clark may have signed with somebody, but somebody like that, Ndamukong Suh's still out there. You want to bring in Ndamukong Suh, he would probably upgrade the line a little bit. Trading for guys like Quinnen Williams. I just don't feel that the Lions need to go out and make a big move right now, because I think that Holmes has built the team that he thinks can compete right here and right now. So there was a little article that came out for Goff that said that Goff is going into his best years, because I know there's a lot of criticism on Goff. I'm going to pivot right here because we haven't had a lot in there on that last one. So let's go to Goff. Do you think that Goff can have the best years, going into the best years with this team? Throw that one into the comments, because I personally believe in Goff. I believe that he's every bit as good as any quarterback that's out there making decisions, making reads. And just like any other quarterback that gets pressured, sometimes he gets forced into bad decisions, just like any other quarterback, when defenses are playing good. And it isn't about how well you play when you're playing good. It's about how well you can play in those games like they played last year against the Jets, where it's just kind of grindy and just nothing seems to be working. You got to be able to win those ugly games. And Goff has proven that he is the type of quarterback that can win an ugly game and doesn't really lose the demeanor, just kind of keeps playing for the next play, doesn't let his emotions get. If you remember, the fan base here in Detroit was pretty hard on Goff for the first, almost full year, and until he got some believers. There wasn't many people that were on that Goff train. But maybe I got to switch up the topics right here. Maybe we got to go to some Packers, because that's a young defense over there in Green Bay. That's a young defense over there in Green Bay. And I think that you got some questions to answer, and maybe Robert can help me out, because I know that he's listening out there. But, Greg wants to come in on this. So the defense, so here's the question for Green Bay fan. You got Joe Barry, who has like 100 first-round picks on that defense. And your defense finished in a 20. So let's not get it twisted. This isn't some kind of great Green Bay Packers defense, as Jeremy Ballrick alluded to yesterday when it came to the Green Bay Packer defense. They have a lot of first-round talent. They have all kinds of potential when it comes to the Green Bay Packer defense. But you're going to find out this year if it's Gutekunst that's bringing in crap talent that Joe Barry couldn't coach. If you have to have talent in order to be coached. You can't coach no talent and expect to win, no matter how good you are as a coach. So you're going to find out this year, Green Bay Packer fan, if Joe Barry is your guy or if Gutekunst is your guy. Now, you want Joe Barry to be your guy because you've already drafted all your guys, right? You've drafted a whole bunch of first-round draft picks, and all you needed was Joe Barry to come in and make it happen, right? But if it's the other way around, then you guys are in a trick bag, and you guys are going to have a hard time this year, because if Joe Barry was the man and it's been Gutekunst that's been bringing you bunk talent, and that's why you finished in the top, then you're going to have a hard time. I mean, is it a young and hungry defense? I mean, but that's the question, Robert. What do you think? Do you think that is, obviously, if you have hope for this year, Robert, the Green Bay Packer fan, if you have hope for this year, then you believe that Joe Barry is going to turn all of that talent into the top 10 defense. But if it's Gutekunst, like Aaron Rodgers says that Gutekunst is the worst GM. So Gutekunst has either been crushing it and Joe Barry has been falling short, or Gutekunst is garbage. And I mean, you can't expect a defensive coordinator to just come in and make magic happen with no talent. So if Gutekunst is giving you bunk talent, then Joe Barry can't fix it. But if Gutekunst is awesome at talent and he just needed to get Aaron Rodgers and the drama out of town, and then now Joe Barry can make that defense into what it is with all them first-round picks. I mean, year after year, not drafting wide receivers, not drafting a whole bunch of people. I want to know what you think about that. Maybe for the offense right there is what Robert says. But now we got West Coast Stat Master. Greg is in the house, and I love talking football with you, dude. I want to know what you think about this. Is it Gutekunst or is it Joe Barry? And you gotta unmute yourself because I would love to hear what you're saying.
Yeah, that part. No, I think it's a little bit of both at this time. Now, Russell, what you alluded to earlier about the Packers' overall defensive rank, they did somewhat of a Detroit Lions thing last year. They got off to a really rough start. Joe Barry was sticking to that really kind of loose zone scheme, and they were forcing essentially their best defensive player to maintain that. And, you watch football around the league for years, and zone is great. But when you have a player of Jair Alexander's caliber, you can usually let that guy go rogue and play his man. And you and I noticed in the second half of last season, that Packers defense turned it on. And this was without their star pass rusher, Rashawn Gary. They were really able to turn it on. And that was essentially their key piece to turning their season around last year, was that defense. Right. That being said, the Packers have a huge question at safety. What is going on there? You look at this room right now, and in this league where you see a lot of teams playing two high center fielders, the Packers have none. Darnell Savage, are you serious? So they do have some questions there. Rashawn Gary, it's going to be questioned when he comes back. Now, in terms of is it Gutekunst or is it Joe Barry? I feel almost like the Packers, Joe Barry kind of, I don't want to say caved into pressure, but the defense was so underwhelming last year that it feels like they did kind of cave into some like fan needs and such. So Gutekunst, for the most part, I do believe he's drafted pretty well. I'd say he's a top 12, top 14-ish at worst.
I agree with that. But it is a good question because
it is.
I mean, because a lot of Packer fans, because I've been going into a lot of the Packer pages and try to get the pulse on how they really feel, and they are really questioning Joe Barry. Yeah. I think it's more of a question of Joe Barry at this point. But if Joe Barry is actually the good defensive coordinator, I mean, there also is Aaron Rodgers saying as he's going out of town that Gutekunst has never been good for him. And, but I agree that Gutekunst has been good because I really respect the way that he handled that Aaron Rodgers trade. Yeah. And he laid in the weeds and he did a really, really good job at playing the emotions of the New York Jets and being like, oh, well, look, I mean, Tennessee was calling us up on the phone and they were looking up our skirt and we kind of liked it, maybe we can get first or second, but get some picks out of there. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I do.
And, so I respect Gutekunst for that. Oh, we got a Packer fan in the house. Let's bring in Packer fan 808. So who do we have on here? Packer fan 808. What's your name?
Evan.
So Evan, we got Evan the Packer fan. What would you like to discuss with us today?
Well, I just woke up a little earlier and I always tune into this in the morning. I'm watching from Bill the Packer fan stream on YouTube. Okay. So I thought I'd hop in because I was hearing a lot about Joe Barry and the defense.
Yeah. Yeah. Give me your thoughts on that. What is it? Is it Joe Barry or is it Gutekunst?
I think it's a mix of both because I've seen in the past that there's been a lot of talent that we've let go early before they really kind of kicked in gear. But I do think that at the very end of the season against the Vikings, especially the Dolphins, that defense really started kicking in and throwing and throwing some stuff at other teams that we haven't seen all season. I mean, at the start of the season, that defense was long gone.
Right.
Agreed.
Right, and then you had a couple injuries. I mean, I know that that Stokes injury killed you guys at the beginning, and now you. How long do you have to wait to get Stokes back?
I'm not 100%. I mean, injuries always come and go, and sometimes they get worse. Sometimes they heal faster. I pray it's not that long, but
yeah, because when he's in there, when Stokes and Alexander are together, that's a pretty scary back end, especially with. I believe that you guys are gonna. Is Amos already signed with somebody else or no?
I think so. Yeah, I think Adrian Amos is out. I think or he might still be an agent.
So I really do like. I'm not a big late round pick. A guy that's going to put a lot of stock into late round picks, but you guys got a pretty good one in Antoine Williams from Florida State. That safety.
Yes, we did. Yeah, I was actually surprised he fell that far.
Yeah.
So I know that was a Greg Rice guy. Do you want to make a comment on any Antoine Williams? You know anything about him?
Do I personally?
Yeah.
He was just one of those late round gems that I was looking on. Via Tom Novins, let me look at on The Athletic as well as PFF. He actually had a pretty high grade. And I think that, from what I know, looked like a pretty good late round pick, and the Packers, one thing I'll give them, division rival and all, I will say this, they do draft really well. They always have for the most part. I know they went through a stint there early, probably around when Aaron Rodgers was drafted, where defensively they weren't drafting too well. But to be honest with you, they've been a top 10 drafting team, in my opinion, over the last years in terms of development, player development, and getting players to fit their scheme.
Right on. I'm going to take time right here. I want to put a shout out because we're streaming into a whole bunch of awesome networks because we have a great community of NFC North people. The Detroit Lions news. Joe Chap. I can't express how much it meant to me that you to reach out to me and make this connection and let us be part of the Detroit Lions news. I appreciate that. Bill, the Packer fan, you've been like. Even though you're a Packer fan, you've been like an angel in my corner, really showing me how to do this internet thing. I appreciate that. Mike, the Bear fan, the same way. CNG podcast, the Detroit Lions Villain Squad, NFC North Main Event, NFC North The Huddle, and the YouTube versions of all that. We're streaming into all those spots. We appreciate this because, this is the off season. Like only true fans are listening to football talk right now, and everybody else is locked into the baseball and the end of the NBA finals and all that. But we love football. I want to talk about backup punters. Let's go. Let's go. So, yeah.
Stop playing with us.
And we appreciate all the listeners. Appreciate Greg Rice. We're not done yet. I just wanted to throw that out there. And let's see what else I got on here. So, Jameson Williams. This is one of those things like, when they were tweeting out all this stuff and he was liking tweets, he liked the Lamar Jackson tweet.
Yeah.
And the Detroit Lions fan base and everything wanted to turn this thing around and turn it into something like, oh, well, this chemistry ain't that good. So Goff's comment to that was, you guys must be bored.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, really, we're in June. Are we really worried about chemistry between Jared Goff and Jameson Williams?
I think we're at a point in the offseason, Russell, I like to call dead time. You're right. A lot of people are watching the finals right now. Shout out to Jokic and Jimmy Buckets. Man, these guys have been on fire, man. Here, I was sitting here thinking there's going to be another Celtics-Lakers finals, man, and they just came in and kicked butt. But, free
JMO. There's one.
on that note, Russell, as the details came out about JMO and stuff, and you're right, it's the off season. Man, what a weird circumstance. In a hotel room, gets caught gambling, and it's considered an official NFL site. Look, I'm not excusing the young man's behavior. I don't think betting by players should even be legal. But if it is, the rules need to be set a little bit more clear. Like I said, I'm not excusing, justifying what JMO did, the suspension. It's worthy. But now that the details came out of him doing this in a hotel room that was sanctioned by the NFL, it just feels really weird.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's a gray area in there, and there is a second wave of people that are going to get nailed with a bunch of this stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And people are actually going to their coaches and going to the the administration of each one of these teams and saying, hey, I probably made a bet when I was in the hotel room when I was in, I mean, people are coming out and coming clean with it. And I think that he should serve the suspension. I mean, I wouldn't mind if he went and tried to dispute it and knock it down to like 4 games or 2 games or something like that. But he definitely should serve something for it, because there has to be a fine line, because this gambling thing, they can't let it take over or turn this into the WWE. Yeah, and I know that some people think that it's already there. Yeah, with some of the storylines and stuff like that. I don't buy that as much, but if they went down this slippery slope, it could head that way in a hurry if it's not already on its way there.
Agreed. And for me, that's why, for me, across the board, I know this isn't really a fair statement, because they're players, they should be able. I don't like the idea of professional players betting on professional players of any sport, much less college, where they still have links. A player of JMO's age could still have links. And you're right about the WWE thing, how it kind of turns in, it gives it that conspiracy of it being more of a sports entertainment vibe. So for me, I would just blanket it across of players not to gamble during the season.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why we're even talking about this DeAndre Hopkins thing. Like, I mean, it's great, man. I love the big name people, and I can throw that back to you too, as a Packer fan. I mean, what does that mean to you? I mean, are you looking to get a high-end talent guy like that on the Packers, or are you just kind of like everybody else?
I think at this point, we just need to keep going with the youth movement. We need to stick to what we've been doing. Adding D-Hop, and it's nothing against D-Hop. He's a great player. It's something we don't need, and at the very moment don't have the space for. Yeah. We have a lot of young talent, and we just picked up a very good pick in Jalen Reed as a wide receiver, who I have some hopes for. But we have Christian Watson, Jalen Reed, Romeo Dobbs, and those are all players that can go on the field and should be able to produce without the help of a veteran receiver.
Agreed.
Right, and him being the veteran receiver that is just kind of like talented. And really, if you need a veteran receiver, you can go out and find a guy way cheaper that can just come in and tell guys where to line up and stuff.
Or we could have kept Alan Lazard and Randall Cobb, one of those 2 players. We could have kept them on board. Yeah. But we wanted to go with the youth movement, which I completely understand.
Right, but it is kind of sexy to have the best, contested ball catcher on your team that in the NFL. I mean, like I say, if the Lions go out, and if they spend $17 million, I'm going to be mad, but if they go out there and like I said, 10 to 12 million with some incentives, and they work something out, and he wants to win a title, and he wants to work it out like that, I don't mind the pick. I just don't think that the Lions need it either. I don't really want him. But I know that Mike Abraham does from Main Event Mike. He's all over, dude. He's been all over this stuff since, he made that take pre-draft. Oh, we need to trade the 18th picks for DeAndre Hopkins. I'm like, what the heck are you talking about? But he's just like, does he make your team a Super Bowl contender? I mean, I think they're already there, but it is. I mean, maybe I'm just a Lions homer. Because we've never won anything. We've never even won the NFC North. We won the NFC Central, and even that, Tampa Bay has won the NFC Central more recently than we have. A team not in our division has won it more recently than us. I mean, our history is pathetic, but I love my Lions, man. Yeah. I mean, eventually it's got to turn around.
Eventually.
Okay.
Eventually.
Yeah, all my friends are dying. So
the odds are with us this year.
Oh, help. Well, let's do something that we can agree on right here as Packer fans and Lions, but we have to find some kind of common ground. Chicago's riding high, thinking they're going 12-5. What do you think about that?
What I think about that is you don't go from dog poop to shiny, from dog poop to just the number 1 seed in the NFC North. They were last. They were last in the NFC North for a reason. They sucked.
Right.
And they're over. I get you're trying to hype up your quarterback, but all we know is that he can run.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
There's been like 2 throws, but every quarterback's had at least 2 good throws.
Yeah.
Right.
All you know is that guy can just run.
Yeah.
Right.
The number one rushing quarterback.
DJ Moore and Nate Davis is completely fixed your offense. Like, that's it. Nate Davis, he's going to hold back your entire defensive line.
Yeah.
No, I mean, here's the thing is like, we're going to come out with something like this, but I want to do highs and lows of every team in the NFC North and a realistic, an uninterrupted version of, let's say, in some kind of Doctor Strange world that happens. Like, how many times did this happen out of 12,785,285 times? This happened once. They go and we live in this world where they go and they win 13 games and a couple playoff games. What happened during that season to make the Bears go 12, 13 wins and playoff, maybe even get to the Super Bowl? What happened?
Nothing.
Like, did Lambeau Field, like a meteor hit Lambeau Field?
I think the hype around DJ Moore got a lot of the expectations up here when they should really be down here.
Agreed.
You should be looking
up there, but like don't go to the moon with these expectations. He's going to make them better. I mean, there's no doubt. You know,
you can finally see if you have a passing quarterback, or is he just going to keep running until he runs out of steam?
Good point.
Or is he going to be dead by week 5 because they can't protect him and he can't run away from everybody? Go Pack, go from Scotland.
Nice.
Wow.
Huge community.
That is awesome.
Scotland is crazy.
I heard it is absolutely gorgeous.
Oh, it is. It honestly
in Scotland. That's like God country right there. What is it like in Scotland, Barry? Wow. Thank you so much for listening to a couple knuckleheads talk about football in June, man. We really appreciate it. This is awesome. And yeah, so the Bears still suck. So we were I don't know what to do here. It's like I understand you're going to be better. Like, and really, if you're a Bear fan and you go from 3 wins to 7, 8, 9 wins, like, I'm going to pull you into where I was trying to pull Lion fan last year, because we have a lot of good young talent too. But all these guys were trying, 11 wins, baby. And I'm just like, come on, man. I love the where we're trending and all this stuff, but we were in a 7, 8 win team and that overachieved and got 9 wins, right? And that's where you need to be too, Bear fan. Like, if you improve your team and you can win 8 or 9 games, I think that's where your ceiling is. That's just, Justin Fields can, throw for 3,000 yards and, and have 25, 30 total touchdowns, and you still are going to be an 8, 9 win team. So I challenge you guys to temper those expectations and then be surprised. Okay. Because when you think your team's going to win 7 games and they win 9, it makes you feel good. But if you're out there and you're thinking you're going to win 13 games, God bless you. But when you're like, where do you leave your mindset and your heart with something to like feel good about? Because that's a high expectation. And if you reach it, you be like, yeah, I was right. But if you don't, you're just gonna be left out there with, kicking your ball out there and, with Lucy out there, just like laughing at you, just like Lions fans. Like, we're used to it, man. But we don't want to see you go through it too.
Or do we?
Actually, we do want to see you go through it.
Stop playing with us.
But that's all right. My sister is in Italy, and she said that she'd like to see more people wearing Packer than any other team. Okay.
Ooh, okay.
The Italians are giving some Packer love too.
Okay. Okay.
The weather is all right, guys. Your
nice.
show Your show is awesome. Wow, that's awesome, man. Thank you, Barry, for tuning in. It's like that's great. We're just fans. I think that's what gives us an advantage here. We're just fans, and we're not any super dudes with any super now. Well, Greg's really smart, but like everybody else is.
You set the bar low, Russ.
Yeah, I set the bar.
Really smart? I don't know, bud.
Yeah. But so let's get into some of this. How about QB controversy? I wrote down a bunch of stuff. I didn't know what order I wanted to go in here, but the Lions drafted a quarterback, Greg.
Yeah.
Hendon Hooker is looking like he's going to be like physically ready to go by week 1, but that doesn't mean that he's going to be able to go through training camp and all the stuff like that. So it's good to say that by week, when Jameson gets back, we will also have a healthy backup quarterback. When does the chance start? When is it?
It's my quarterback.
When does it go from that to
it's my quarterback?
Oh, you know, the heir apparent sitting back there. When are we going to see some Hendon Hooker?
I mean, I'll make it as simple as this. Look, I heard you earlier, Russ. You really touched on something, man, as far as the fan base not being completely behind Goff. Goff had a heck of a year last year. Statistically, he was one of the most responsible quarterbacks. Doesn't give up the ball much. Never really has it much his whole career. To be blunt and honest with you, Russ, his fan base still isn't sold on Goff. Like I said, we still have the Matt Stafford Messiah people in the background who won't admit it. But that was their quarterback god right there, and he'll never officially turn that percentage of our fan base simply based on play style. You know, Matt Stafford was a gunslinger and a half. I compare him to, pardon me, Packers fan 808, but I'd compare Matt Stafford to kind of a I don't want to say a poor man's Brett Favre, but a definitely downgraded version of Brett Favre. Big arm, and essentially. It is what it is, you know, and I hate that term, but that's what it is. The moment you will start hearing Lions fans rumble for Hendon Hooker instead of Jared Goff is the moment Hendon Hooker is 100% and Jared Goff has a bad game. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be like when I'm watching the game with other Lions fans, it's literally after every incompletion.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, oh my God, they need to draft a quarterback and you threw a balls in the dirt. It's like, oh my gosh, dude. Yeah. So I'm going to throw this one at you. I forgot your name. Is it Wes? What was it? What is your name again?
Evan.
Oh God, I was way off on my guess. I'm going to ask you a completely different question. And this was something else that came out in Packer camp was that Clifford was balling out over Jordan Love. So if let's just say something crazy happens, would you be okay with Clifford winning the job over Jordan Love?
I honestly wouldn't care. It's kind of like the Trey Lance, Brock Purdy of the 49ers.
Yeah.
You had Trey Lance, you spent a lot to get him. In our case, we spent a first round getting Jordan Love. Not everybody agreed with it. But then you get this guy in the very last of the draft who just all of a sudden out of nowhere starts throwing missiles and hitting his targets. I wouldn't mind getting a Sean Clifford jersey if he's good.
Yeah.
Are you a college fan? Do you follow Big Ten football at all?
A little bit. I'm here and there, not as much as the NFL, but I still do watch some college football.
So I'm a Buckeye fan, and my partner in crime is a Michigan fan. I've watched all the Iowa games. I've watched all of the Ohio State. I've watched all of these Big Ten games, and Clifford against some amazing competition is very, very poised. And when he was drafted, Mike Abraham was like, that dude's going to beat out Love. And he said it on draft day. And I was just like, really? Like, I thought it was a reach. Like, I was just kind of like, okay, here's a developmental quarterback. I thought you could have probably got him after the draft was over, but and now that he's balling out like that, it doesn't really surprise me all that much because I've never been a big believer in Jordan Love, but he said for the first time that he was scared of Green Bay was when they drafted Sean Clifford because he wasn't scared of Jordan Love at all. Isn't that crazy? It's like
that is kind of crazy. That is kind of crazy. See, all I know is that Sean Clifford got, I think, Rodgers' old locker, and I think his number.
Wow. Man.
So it was posted on Facebook on a couple of groups that he got his old locker and I think his old number. I was like, okay, interesting. I don't know if we got a gym here, like a weird late round Brock Purdy situation.
Yeah.
But
and why not? Because you guys don't believe in love. And here's the thing. They don't believe in love, and it's evidenced by what happened in the contract, because they could have just had him sign the 5th-year option for $20.5 million, right? Instead, they extend him in a deal that they are only on hook for $13.5 million. I think that was an incredibly savvy move.
It was. That surprised me.
Yeah.
Because not only did you get the 2 first-round draft picks, but you were able to save money on the quarterback that you have. And if he does suck, then you have 2 first-round draft picks for next year in order to be able to move up and get your guy, if you believe him, or by some miracle, Sean Clifford is this guy. It's like, that'd be so crazy. You Green Bay Packer fans have been so fortunate throughout the years to to draft those. And maybe it is just because you're badass, but we're jealous for sure.
It'd be very ironic for the person that we took first round to be complete dog doo-doo, and then the person we ended up drafting really late, the year of that guy starting, turning out to be the next Aaron Rodgers would be hilarious. So, I know it definitely have Bears fans mad.
Oh, definitely. Haven't had a quarterback since '86. Here the Packers are grabbing 3 straight franchise quarterbacks. They would be very unhappy with that, Evan.
Oh yeah.
But that's great. That's great. I'm glad that we got to go through it. And as far as the Goff thing goes, it's like, you know me, Greg. Yeah. I am a big Goff supporter, because to me, he's what we need. Like all the sexy quarterbacks that are out there, it's like, why do most people like quarterbacks? It's usually because they can escape the pocket and they can make something happen when things break down. That's usually the denominator. That's what they want. But here's the thing. That's like 5 plays a game. Maybe something that's going to happen like that. The other 98% of the game is going to be him back there and having to read the defense and just make a solid decision. And Goff is really good at that. Yeah. He's just not good on those 5 plays. If things break down, he's just not that guy.
Yeah. And that's fine, because, you know, Russ, when it comes down to it, look, man, in my opinion, there's only 2 elite quarterbacks, with Jalen Hurts being borderline elite. I got him rounded out in my top 3. Let's be real here. It's Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow. You could borderline elite Josh Allen, maybe Justin Herbert, maybe Lamar, but the list is small. You know, so you got everybody making this comparison, this pro comp, to maybe 5 quarterbacks in the league. And the reality of it is, when only 1 out of every between 6 and 7 teams have one of these guys, it's just an unfair and unrealistic expectation. Like I said, Goff's forte will never be the big arm, that throw from any angle type guy, but he will be the guy that keeps turnovers low and is the reason why we don't lose games.
But it's a beautiful thing when you have a GM that understands your coach. And what did he go out and do? Like, Goff is a very good short throwing. Like, I can get it to a running back. I can hit the guys on the slant. Anything that's dink and dunk like that. So what does he do? He goes out and gets a bona fide wide receiver running back in Jahmyr Gibbs that can line up anywhere on the field where it's going to be a little dink and dunk. He goes out and gets Sam Laporta, who was the best in the nation at what? Ding, 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 breaking tackles. Like, you can line him up anywhere on the field. He's a 6'5", go up and get it red zone target. So they are putting Goff in a position to succeed, and the Goff haters are just they're gonna go, why is he so good? It's just because of everything is put around him to be in a position to succeed. You ain't gonna sack him because he's gonna get rid of the ball fast. The offense is designed to get rid of the ball fast. So if you got a bunch of pass rushers, you ain't gonna get to him because because the play design is gonna be like, step back, hop, poop. I'm gonna hit my running back, hit my tight end, hit Amon-Ra St. Brown, quick, or hand the ball off and let Frank Ragnow beat the shit out of some defensive lineman. Like, that's what they want.
That is exactly what they want. Not
Goff
to mention,
needs an elite weapon.
Yeah.
Goff needs an elite weapon. Goff has got elite weapons all over the place.
Yeah.
Jahmyr Gibbs is a 4.3 speed guy. And when Jameson
Yes.
Williams comes back, he's a 4.1 speed guy. Sam
Yeah.
Laporte is a 4.5 speed guy. Like there's speed and playmaking, breaking tackles all over the place. What are you talking about, Barry? I love you from Scotland. All right. Rob says there is a Packer fan that said Sean Clifford will never be a starting quarterback and that the OTAs are absolutely unnecessary and don't mean anything. And I asked him why do they have him? That is the dumbest statement that I have ever heard.
That is kind of a dumb statement. I mean, looking at it, they train him because you got to train every guy on a team, whether they're the third string or the starter, because if that starter goes down, you need that guy to be ready. You need that guy to be able to go out and at least do his job decently.
Right. And your backup quarterbacks, and this is something that like, and I'm going to help you out right here. Average football fan right here. The backup quarterback is the one that trains all of your depth on offense and defense. So your second team and your third team, who's going to throw them the ball? Who's going to show them which routes to run and everything? So if you don't have a good backup quarterback, then you have no depth.
Yeah. You have to have a serviceable backup quarterback. And like you said, at very minimal to run the snap count up with your second and third stringers on those second and third teams. That was kind of a statement. Don't mind him.
LMAO. He's laughing his ass off because I cited rookies. Is Amon-Ra St. Brown is an elite weapon.
Mm-hmm.
This is his third year, and he's a top 10 wide receiver at the lowest that I'd be willing to put him. He's a top 5 wide receiver in my mind.
Pretty good.
In my mind, he's a top 5 wide receiver, but that's Homer Russ. But this is an NFC North show. I'm not allowed to be Homer Russ here. So I have to say top 10 because that's across the board. Would you agree with that, Evan?
Yeah.
I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown is a top 10 wide receiver.
Oh, yeah. I'm a Packers fan, but I'm a realistic Packers fan.
Yeah.
The Lions are definitely going to win the division. I think that if it wasn't for the Stafford trade, you would not have been able to build the roster like you have.
Ooh, good
A lot of people don't realize. Think about how much Stafford would cost now with this quarterback market going through the roof.
Yep.
You would not have been able to keep all these guys on. But because Jared Goff is a high-end mid quarterback, he gets the job done. You ain't got to pay him like he's a top 5 quarterback. And you can keep all the weapons around him so he does good.
That's
good
value,
point.
Baby. That's exactly what it is. It's value. And that's what all GMs are looking for. It's like you're not going to be able to keep and maintain value. Like one thing that Brad Holmes understands is year to year to year to year, right? So the first contract that's going to come up is Amon-Ra St. Brown. At the end of this year, the Lions are going to pay Amon-Ra St. Brown. They may pay Jonah Jackson going into the season. He's in his 4th year too, but I don't know if they're even going to do that. And then they got to pay Penei Sewell. And then, they have their elite talent staggered. And the reason I think that they went with lower value positions is because they're going to have to pay Penei Sewell, and then they're going to have to pay Aiden Hutchinson. Yeah. You can't afford to pay another top defensive tackle. That's why it's going to be Jack Campbell. Jack Campbell's going to get a linebacker contract in that 5th year and not have to pay a defensive lineman. So he's obviously thinking long-term.
Yep.
At the same time, he's thinking short-term. The Detroit Lions have never in the history that I've been watching have ever had a GM that thought on all 3 levels. So
it's funny you mentioned that too, Russ, because you just take a look into our division and you look at the Vikings and what is going on with them now. Quessy, look, we give him a lot of crap. Rick Spielman, who I actually thought was pretty good at drafting, was not very good at handling contracts. That team's contract situation is an absolute mess. One of the reasons why they're in the situation they're in. Cook's gone, are going to be gone sooner rather than later. Danielle Hunter, the best player on their defense, not happy with what he's getting. He looks like he could be on his way out. And this is what happens when you have contracts compacted, need players to get paid, and then you overpay certain players and you try to put on the back end. It's just, I don't know, you guys. I'll say this. The way things are trending, I could very well see the Vikings go from first to worst this year.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. They lost a lot of key pieces, you know. I'm the type of guy that when you lose, that I break down teams, when you lose that, not just superstar talent, but locker room leaders, and you're not able to infuse much talent because they only had 6 draft picks this year. That team is going to be hurting. Now, this isn't a knock on KOC. I think he did a great job last year. I think that offense, even without Dalvin Cook, it's more predicated on being a pass-first offense. I think it'll still be high-flying, but they're definitely going to take a step back. And I don't know what they were telling Flores to entice him to come into this room, but he's got to be looking around there like, wow. Literally, if they get rid of Danielle Hunter, their star piece is an aging Hitter Harrison, and Marcus Davenport has been healthy 1 out of 5 seasons. And I was a huge Davenport fan.
You talk about half a sack Davenport?
Yeah.
I mean,
that guy.
That's your leading pass rusher. We are up against it right here because I do my beautiful autistic boy is going to get off the bus here in about 10 minutes. And I love to be able to spend an hour with all of the football fans that are in the NFC North. You know, do you want to have anything parting shots right here, Greg Rice?
You know, love your football, love your sports, love your family, love God, do your thing.
Amen to that. How about you, Evan, man? You got
enjoy life.
There you go.
Pray for just everything.
There you go.
So I'm going to put one more shout out right here to the Detroit Lions news. Thank you, Joe Chapp. Thank you, Bill, the Packer fan, Mike, the Bear fan, Detroit Lions, Villain Squad, NFC North main event, and NFC North, the Huddle, for allowing us into your forums to talk some football. This is the NFC North main event phone sessions each and every weekday at 11 a.m. That's Michigan time. That's Eastern time. God bless each and every one of you. I'm hoping that you guys have a great weekend. One pride.
One pride.
Play my game like